Yeah. So what's really happening is we're giving this map of reality and all the other systems that make up who we are too, but I'm speaking about this one because it's so pertinent to who we think we are. We're giving it this input. And it just so happens that Holosync is just this perfect input because it really, it causes the two sides of the brain to have to interact in a new way, and it causes this new system to develop, this new system of complex neural interactions. And as that changes, the way you see things changes. Because you're seeing things kind of through the lens of your map. So this has a lot to do with all these dysfunctional feelings and behaviors that all of us experience and suffer over. Because if you can adopt the posture that we're just going to allow this map to reorganize at a higher level, we're going to allow it to fall apart because it's not who we are. It's just a tool we have. You know, I mean, if you had a map in the car and you were on your way somewhere and, you know, this started happening, earthquake! You'd realize it's just the map. It's not the reality. So, when your personal earthquake starts, just remember it's just the map that's having the earthquake, not you. So, okay, let's stop and have questions for a couple minutes, and then take a little break, and then I want to more specifically talk about this process and how it applies to very specific ways that we react when we get in this state. So does anybody have any questions? I want to make sure you guys really understand this. It's really pretty simple in a way. Yeah?
Would that include more sort of describing the negative ways we dissipate the entropy and maybe suggesting some positive ways to deal with that?
That's a topic I'm going to talk about, yeah, after we take a break. This is kind of profound in a way, isn't it? I mean, this sort of boggles the mind in a way to think of it this way. Yeah, Roy?
So the model is you can't, for example, burn coal without having ashes. The ashes, the entropy. But you can also use the ashes for other things. You can also convert that into fertilizer and get something out of that. So that's what life is doing. Waxing and waning and waxing and waning, new products being formed. So you can't have order without entropy. And you cannot have entropy without order. They go hand in hand, and it's a necessity.
Yeah, order and disorder are two sides of the same coin, and they can't exist without each other. And so Prigoghine's big breakthrough intellectually was that he realized that order did not happen in spite of entropy, it happened because of entropy. And my goal for you, one of my goals for you, is that when you feel yourself going into that chaotic state, that instead of fighting it, which is what we tend to do, that instead you welcome it, that you step aside and from that witness perspective, you watch it and allow it to happen. See, this process of reorganizing at a higher level is a natural process. It is the most natural process. In fact, I'll lay one more thing on you about it. I think that this process of systems evolving to higher levels through this process of going into chaos and what I just described has another name. You've heard of it before. A lot of people call it God. This is how God manifests in the universe, through this process. This is the entire universe is this one energy, and it's dancing along through this process of all these chaotic interactions, reorganizing themselves, creating new things, and those things interact and create new things. And it's not preordained where it's going. Because at each of these junctures, each of these bifurcation points, which are an infinite number of them are happening all the time, at each one of those points, there's an infinite number of possible outcomes. And so nobody knows where it's going. You know, around and around it goes, and nobody knows where it stops. Nobody knows. And this is God godding, and we're part of God godding. We're, you know, a manifestation of that, and it's just all happening. And to the degree you are in resistance to that, you will suffer. To the degree that you realize that you are that, and that it's not possible for it to go wrong anywhere, then you're in bliss all the time. Yes?
I'd just like to expand a little bit why we resist.
You are expanding.
Thank you. And it really comes right back down basically with what you had just covered, but I just question how many of what you said has really sunk into a lot of people. And that is basically that to give up resistance, you have to give up you. This I that you think that's you, your ego, the body.
You have to give up thinking that you're that map.
Right.
That is you.
Has to be dealt with. And the fear comes in. If I give up this I, who am I? What am I? The fear is so strong, we just go back. We would rather have our pain and stuff that I can identify with instead of having peace and love.
Well,
because we're so fearful of giving up that I.
One of the reasons why we had you asking each other, who am I? Is so that you could see, ultimately, that almost every response you gave was a description of your map or some part of it. And you're not any of those things. And in the spirit of playing Hamlet but not being Hamlet, it's okay to play all those things. That's part of the fun of it. But realize that you're not those things. You're just playing. So when someone says, who am I? You can play one of those parts. But if you know behind it all that you're not those parts, then you don't have to suffer in those parts, which is where all our suffering really comes from.